Meditation was a way to quiet my mind, and I'm still a work in progress. Let me be completely open. I don't think that I have yet cracked the code for myself on meditation, but I love that it's a work in progress because it means that I'm becoming more centered and listening to my intuition more than I was. And so that's something to celebrate. I find that, the mind works in pictures, I mean, if I was to place you at the front door of your home, inside of your front door, and then put a blindfold on you and then ask you, how do you get to your kitchen? Your mind would immediately be picturing where you were, placing yourself in space, and you would begin taking steps and thinking about how to get there, even though you could not physically see it. And so for me, I wanted to have those mental pictures that I was focusing on through that visualization. And so I was visualizing constantly. At first, I was visualizing literally throwing in my driveway, walking on my own and throwing my cane into the grass. And I would get so excited about feeling into that moment, thinking about how I was going to feel when I could do that, and trying to feel into it at a time when I couldn't yet do it, and seeing it over and over in my mind. And then eventually I was thinking about the moment of crossing the finish line in Zion. And I pictured it over and over and over. And I remember sitting in a little shower chair because I wasn't able to stand, and the water was rushing over me. And I was just crying in the shower with joy and happiness, thinking about that finish line. And so as I was going through this training, which I'll talk about in a moment, of the 5-month training process that led to the actual ultra marathon hike itself. But when I was having bad days and difficulty, there were days I really wanted to quit. I mean, I wanted to stop. It was really, really a strain on my body. But I would think to myself, well, I've already crossed the finish line. It's already done. So that means that I've already completed today's. If I can do that and that's already finished, then today whatever I have to do today is a foregone conclusion. And I was feeling goosebumps into that. I remember going into the local REI, which is the outdoor store, I didn't have any of the gear that I needed. I didn't know about any hiking backpacks or shoes or socks, any of it. And boy, they saw a sucker coming. I had to lay out a lot of money, but I remember walking through REI and feeling like an imposter. Here was this person who slept through all of our workouts, and now I'm coming in here like, oh, I'm an ultra endurance athlete now. But, I chose to adopt that identity. I am ... an ultra endurance athlete. So what does an ultra endurance athlete do? She goes and she buys the right gear. She plans in advance for her training. She, gives it her all. She communicates with her coach. Like, what does that person do? Even though that was an identity that I had never adopted before. And so the meditations were a way for me to explore those mental pictures and see myself accomplishing those things. And it was not a one and done. It was over and over and over and over, especially in times where like that relapse, I was back in the hospital and I got the call that I had been accepted as an Athena. And I'm thinking, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Like, how am I going to get there? It was not clear. There was not evidence in front of me that I was going to be able to do it.
I've been diving into meditation and visualization myself, and I feel the frustration of not having evidence. I've heard many coaches, including myself, trying to do it, having an evidence journal, having a manifestation journal, and channeling energy from the Reiki into these visualizations. And I tell you, I've been doing it, but there's some days where that frustration just kicks in, like, where is it happening? I have it in my mind, and you just keep going forward. I think that's the lesson that I'm uncovering right now.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it comes down to self-trust. And we have to build that just like a muscle.
I went through 9 months of physical therapy and occupational therapy. And then that included, after the relapse, learning how to walk twice and, really doing the occupational therapy with my hand coordination and balance and all of those different things that were severely impacted. We started a 5-month training program, and we had, through Project Athena, a virtual coach. And we were given this training schedule, which was grueling. And some weeks were up to 20 hours a week of training. And it was in the Georgia heat, which is very oppressive with the humidity, but we were working up to a 3-hour stair climb. And then also kind of this pinnacle training weekend of hiking 21 miles on day one, and then 9 miles the second day. And so it was just building up to that through all sorts of different strength training. I looked crazy at the gym, walking backwards on the treadmill, but building up all those muscles that we would need on the downhill sections in Zion, and also required elevation, making sure that we were able to, because going out to Zion, it's not just the distance, it's also climbing up and down mountains. It's a challenging terrain. So we were preparing our bodies for that. And, a key to success for me is I found a training partner, and I truly think that enabled me to successfully complete it. It made all the difference in the world to have someone to do it with. And so we took lots of selfies on mountains all over North Georgia and North Carolina. And for 5 months, that's what we did. And I couldn't do all that much else. I was working and parenting and all those things, but it was a top priority. And my husband, said to me, he said, it was leading up to about the week before Zion. And he said, I never doubt you, honey, but he said, I can't believe you're actually going to do it. He said, I didn't doubt your ability to do it. I did doubt your actual passion to want to do it and to stay with it, through the whole period of time. And in a lot of ways, I surprised myself, with the, because I told myself stories before that I didn't have the discipline. And I let myself believe things like that probably held me back, I'm sure, in other areas of life as well.
Yeah. It's amazing how much of a role the mental game plays in all of it. And I just have a question, because I've done Angel's Landing twice.
Oh, yeah.
And Zion is one of my favorite places on earth. Out of all of the places that you had to choose from, why did you pick that particular spot?
Well, I don't really have a reason. It just spoke to me. I just looked at it and I knew, and I never questioned it. And I thought that hiking was a great activity for me to embrace during the recovery, because I love to be outside. I really love that form of exercise in particular. Love the quietness, being in the woods. And my husband also enjoys it. So that was something that I knew I could share.
Sure.
I'm not a runner. There was another adventure that was kayaking and cycling. I'm mildly interested in that, but just the idea of, and the whole thing was, it's walking, right? And so for me, there was a miracle now with every step that I could take. And so it was about one foot in front of the other, but doing that out in nature. And I felt very strongly connected to that form of exercise. If I'm going to devote all of these hours and all of this energy to something, let it be this. And Zion was absolutely one of the most majestic places that I've seen. And when we made it to Zion finally, and I was in this wonderful group of about 9 people, we would start the hike at 3:30 in the morning. So we'd get up about 1 o'clock in the morning, start at 3:30 under these beautiful starry skies. And then we would just book it. I mean, we hiked as quickly as we could through the dark hours to make time and cover miles during the coolest part. But we would go hours and hours and hours without seeing another human being. And we got to see the backcountry, this area of the park that few other people on earth will ever see because it's so difficult to get to. And, there was a point when I really wanted to give up, but I knew that it was either keep going or call a helicopter. I mean, that was really the two options. So you got to keep moving. But it was so surreal to be hiking and then watching the sunrise come up over the canyons, and it just bathes everything in this beautiful pink light. And those are the moments that I'll never forget, of seeing the majesty of that scenery as we were able to see it.
There's a special energy about that place. Really. Yeah.
So now you help others that have gone through medical setbacks from strokes, cancers, all kinds of debilitating diseases, disorders, neurological, and you help them on their path to recovery and resilience. Can you talk to us about that, your coaching practice, and also leading them to be more resilient, which is unfortunately a skill that a lot of people are not becoming used to in this day and age when we have convenience. I know I felt that, but many others as well. So please.
Yes, absolutely. Well, when I came back from Zion, I was thinking, well, I'll come home, celebrate this, enjoy this, and then I'll set the next goal and I'll be off to the races. But I felt this feeling of unsettledness is the best that I can describe it. And I sat in it for about a week, and I was journaling about it, trying to figure out, why do I feel this way? And I finally really got quiet and felt very strongly that this experience, the entire experience, the good, the bad, the terrible, from the point of the illness all the way through crossing that finish line, had happened for a bigger reason than I had ever understood or seen to that point. And I felt that it had placed me in a very unique position to inspire and educate others who are on a journey for their own comeback. And so it came to me quickly: comeback coach. That's what I am. And so it was kind of an inconvenient nudge. I had built a business that was completely unrelated, doing sustainable interior design, completely unrelated. But in my corporate career, I had mentored, I had led teams. There were all of those, skills there. And that was actually my favorite part of my job, being able to mentor others through their career and see them grow. And so I thought, you know what, this isn't such a leap. It really isn't such a leap for me. And so I walked away. I walked away from my other business to be a comeback coach. And so I started working with my first client within about a week and a half of that, who is a bone marrow transplant and stage 3 cancer survivor. And I feel strongly that that's what I meant to do. And then I also think that there's a gap in the market. I think that we are so focused on the physical body when it comes to healing, but really, as Julie was saying earlier, I mean, the body is an instrument of the mind, period. And so the mind and understanding how it works, understanding how it can really guide, and you can use your mind to create the life that you want, not try to get back to the person that you were before, because truly anyone who's gone through this type of a setback is different. They're changed. And so why should they be going backward to try to quote unquote get back to normal? It really is an opportunity for them to redefine who they want to be from that point on, no matter how their physical body may look different. And so that coaching practice started out doing one-on-one. And then I will be launching in April the Comeback Collective, which is an incredibly supportive community where we can be learning from each other's stories, inspiration, and it is a group coaching environment where we can be supporting each other through the achievement of these goals and redefining these comebacks together. So that's something I'm just absolutely thrilled about. More than gender, it really is just attracting the type of person who is ready to redefine themselves and recognizes that as an opportunity. And is ready to put in the work and to get that kind of growth and that kind of incredible reward to just live their best life in all areas.